Okay, so we discussed a quote block. Quote block is usually used to quote material that is not yours. There is another type of quote block, and it is used to quote your own material, and that is called a pull quote block. A pull quote block, what it can do is it can take a section of your text and make it really pop. So for a pull quote, we're going to grab some text from one of our other paragraphs. I'm going to highlight some text, and I'm going to turn this into a pull quote. I'm going to grab some text. And what you're doing is you're copying the text, and I'm going to place my cursor below the text, press enter so I have a space for a new block. And I'm going to use my plus sign, and I'm going to search for pull quote. It might actually already be in the list, but if you can't find it, type in pull, and you'll see that pull quote appears. Pull quote. So this is a pull quote block, and I'm going to paste the text into it. And you can see that a pull quote really makes something stand out. So a pull quote is quite useful to make things stand out. Okay. And you use it for quoting yourself. You can leave the citation blank when you're quoting yourself. You can just leave it blank. It won't show on the page. The words add citation will not show. But if you use a pull quote, it allows you to really make some of your text pop. So rather than have all the same font all the way through the document, you can use a pull quote to pull out something particularly interesting that you've said. And it's a way of drawing your reader in so they can check out what you're actually trying to say. Now with the pull quote, there's a couple of things that you can do. You can change the alignment. Okay, so here you can align it left or right, and you can see it's now embedded in the body. Or you can align it wide width, make it really, really big. You can even make it full width, which is wide as the page. Or you can set it to none, and it'll just be embedded in the text of your page as normal. So it depends on how wide your theme is, whether you want it to have it floating around. So those are your alignment options for your pull quote. And that's different than your regular quote, which does not have the same alignment options. The pull quote really can make it look a lot more prominent than the regular quote. So this quote type you use for quoting third parties, and the pull quote you use pretty much for quoting yourself when you want to make something of your essay or your story to really pop out. You can use the pull quote, and then of course down the side here, these are the pull quote settings, and there's more that you can do with a pull quote, such as set the border width. You can set the border style, okay, make it a solid border, or change the width of the border, okay, make it stand out, change the border color, okay, and radius. Okay, you can make it sort of rounder. This all depends on your theme, folks. So not all themes will have these options for a pull quote. The theme that we're using have these options, but they don't necessarily all have the same options. So let's make this a bit bigger. Let's make our pull quote border 10 pixels, and it's pink, and let's change the radius so that it's nice and rounded on the corners. So that is a pull quote. You can see how it really pops, and let's make it wide width so it really pops on the page. And update and preview. So let's look what this looks like in our actual page. This is your practice page that you've been working on. You can see the regular text, you can see a regular quotation, you can see a pull quote, how it pops, and you can see your list down at the bottom.